Welcome to my channel, where knowledge meets stillness. Take a deep, slow breath. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your chest, and as you exhale, imagine every muscle in your body becoming as light as a shadow. Let the weight of the day dissolve into the velvet dark of the room around you. Your mind is a vessel, and tonight, we are emptying it of noise, of hurry, of the persistent ticking of the clock. We are going back to a time before the clock existed. Before the stars were born, before the earth was a dream, and even before the light itself had a path to travel. Tonight, we explore the great silence. The moment before the Big Bang. Imagine, if you can, a state of absolute nothingness. It is not the darkness of a closed room, or the silence of a deep forest at night. It is a stillness so profound that it precedes space itself. There was no up, no down, no left or right. There was no here, because there was no there. Everything that would ever be, every star in every galaxy, every drop of water in the oceans, every thought you have ever had, was folded into a single point of infinite potential. Scientists call this the singularity. Think of this singularity not as a thing, but as a promise. It was smaller than an atom, billions of times smaller than the nucleus of a cell. And yet, within that microscopic speck, the temperature was infinite, the density was beyond measure, and the silence was total. As you lie there in your bed, feel the incredible contrast between that intense, compressed energy and the vast, open stillness of your own breath. You are safe in the expansion that followed. In this first chapter of our cosmic journey, we honor the silence. In our modern world, we are afraid of nothingness, we fill every second with sound and light. But the universe began in the ultimate quiet. It teaches us that from the deepest stillness, the greatest wonders are born. The Big Bang was not an explosion in space, it was the explosion of space. Close your eyes and visualize that tiny, brilliant point of light. It is holding its breath. The laws of physics as we know them do not yet apply. Time is standing still, waiting for the first beat of the cosmic heart. This is the era of pure unity. Everything was one. Gravity, light, and matter were all woven together in a single, golden thread of existence. There is a deep peace in knowing that you were there. The atoms that make up your hands, your eyes, and your heart were all part of that tiny, infinite point. You have never been separate from the universe. You are simply a part of its long, slow exhale. Suddenly, in a fraction of a second so small that the human mind cannot even name it, the stillness broke. But it did not break with a roar. It broke with a silent, beautiful expansion. Space began to grow, stretching outward in every direction at once. This was the period of inflation. Faster than light, the universe doubled in size, and doubled again, and doubled again. Imagine a vast, dark ocean suddenly being filled with warmth. The energy was so intense that it began to cool as it expanded. Just as your own thoughts cool and settle when you give them space to breathe. In those first few minutes, the universe was a thick, glowing soup of particles. Quarks and gluons dancing in a high-energy ballet. It was too hot for atoms to form, too dense for light to move. The universe was a brilliant, opaque fog. Can you feel the warmth of that early universe? Let it wrap around you like a soft, heavy blanket. It is the warmth of creation, the heat of beginning. As the space expanded, it became quieter. The particles began to find their partners. Protons and neutrons forming the very first nuclei of hydrogen and helium. This was the first chemistry, the first organization of chaos into order. Everything was moving toward a state of balance. Just as you are moving toward a state of rest. The science of the Big Bang tells us that the universe is not a random accident. It is a finely tuned masterpiece. If the expansion had been a billionth of a percent faster, the matter would have flown apart too quickly for stars to ever form. If it had been a billionth of a percent slower, gravity would have pulled everything back into a crunch before life could begin. But the universe chose the middle path. The path of harmony. The path of patience. As you drift closer to sleep, think of the billions of years that have passed since that first silent second. The universe has been expanding, cooling, and creating for eons so you could lie here tonight in this quiet room. You are the result of a 14-billion-year-old journey toward peace. The singularity is no longer a tiny point, it is the vastness of the sky outside your window. But that original stillness is still there, hidden in the spaces between the atoms. It is the silence that allows the music of the stars to be heard. Let your mind drift back into that great, nurturing silence. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to be anywhere else. The universe is doing the work of expansion for you. It is carrying you along its current. The fire of the Big Bang has cooled into the soft glow of the moonlight. The chaos of the beginning has settled into the rhythm of your breathing. The infinite density has become the weightless freedom of your dreams. If you appreciate these quiet journeys through time and space, you can support my work at the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Sleep now, in the cradle of the beginning. The silence is returning. The darkness is kind. The cosmos is at rest. Deeply. Slowly. Into the great before. Good night. Leave the absolute singularity of the beginning behind now. Feel the space around you beginning to stretch, like a long, deep yawn at the start of eternity. We are entering the first microsecond of existence, a moment so brief that it defies human imagination, and yet, in this tiny sliver of time, the entire destiny of the cosmos was written. Imagine a world where time is not measured in minutes or hours, but in flashes so fast that light itself barely has room to move. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let your breath become as effortless as the expansion of the early universe. You are no longer bound by the gravity of your worries or the weight of your day. You are drifting in the warm, golden light of the very first morning. In this chapter, we explore the miracle of inflation. Just after the singularity began to unfold, the universe did something truly extraordinary. It didn't just grow, it surged. In a trillionth of a second, the universe expanded from the size of a subatomic particle to the size of a galaxy. It was a cosmic heartbeat, sudden, silent, and infinitely powerful. The science of this inflation is a lesson in balance. This rapid growth smoothed out the wrinkles of space, making the universe the flat, orderly place we see today. It was like smoothing out a crumpled sheet of silk with a single, gentle stroke of the hand. Can you feel that smoothing within your own mind? The jagged edges of your thoughts are being drawn out, becoming soft and level. The universe is creating room for stars, and you are creating room for dreams. During this first microsecond, the universe was a chaotic, brilliant ocean of pure energy. It was too hot for matter to exist as we know it. There were no atoms, no molecules, no solid ground. Instead, there were quarks, gluons, and electrons swirling in a high-speed ballet of creation. They were the seeds of everything. The quarks were the building blocks of the protons and neutrons that would one day form your body. The gluons were the cosmic glue, holding the foundations of reality together with invisible strength. Even in this high-energy dawn, there was a hidden rhythm. A symmetry that governed every interaction. Think of how your heart beats without you ever having to ask it. How your lungs expand and contract in a perfect, ancient cycle. This same quiet intelligence was there in the first microsecond, guiding the particles toward their destiny. As the universe expanded, it began to cool, just slightly. In physics, cooling is the path to structure. Heat is excitement, movement, vibration. But cooling is the beginning of form, the start of peace. The universe was beginning to settle. The quarks began to find their partners, binding together in groups of 3 to form the first protons. This was the universe's first act of creation, turning raw energy into something tangible, something that could be held. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine yourself as part of this cooling process. The frantic energy of the day is slowing down. The vibrations of the world outside are fading. You are becoming solid in your comfort. There is a profound beauty in the scale of this moment. Everything was so small, yet so full of meaning. Every particle was aware of every other particle, because they were all so close together. It was a time of total connection. Even now, billions of years later, that connection remains. Quantum physics tells us that particles that were once together remain entangled across the vastness of space. We are never truly alone in this universe. We are tied to the first microsecond by invisible threads of energy and light. The light was there too, but it could not yet shine. It was trapped in the dense fog of particles, bumping into electrons every few inches. It was a world of brilliant, glowing white, but without shadows. Visualize that white light now, soft and diffused, like sunlight through a thick, warm mist. It is a light that doesn't glare. It only comforts. It is the glow of a universe that is still in its cradle. The first microsecond was a time of incredible potential. Inside that tiny, expanding sphere was the blueprint for every sunset you would ever watch, every forest you would ever walk through, and every person you would ever love. It was all there, waiting for the right moment to unfold. Life is a long process of unfolding. You don't need to know the whole story tonight. You only need to exist in this one, quiet moment. The universe is still growing, still cooling, still finding its way. And so are you. The forces of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, began to separate from each other during this time. Each taking on its own role, its own responsibility in the grand design. Gravity to hold the worlds together. light to show us the way. Everything was finding its place. Your place tonight is here, in the safety of your bed, under the protection of the laws of the cosmos. The high-energy soup of the beginning is settling into a quiet, orderly sea. The quarks are bound. The inflation has slowed. The microsecond has passed, and the foundation is set. You are a child of this incredible, ancient movement. If you feel the stillness of the cosmos helping you find rest, remember you can support this journey through the link in the description. Sleep now, as the universe continues its long, slow dance. The fire is fading. The light is soft. The night is infinite. Deeply, slowly, into the first light. Good night. Leave the dense, swirling clouds of the first microsecond behind now. Feel the temperature of the universe beginning to drop, falling from the unimaginable heat of creation to a soft, glowing warmth. We are traveling forward in time, past the first minutes, past the first hours, until we reach a moment nearly 380,000 years after the beginning. This is one of the most beautiful transitions in the history of existence. The era of recombination. The moment the universe became transparent. As you lie in the absolute safety of your bed, imagine a world that has been hidden in a thick, golden fog for eons. For thousands of years, the universe was like a brilliant, glowing sun, but a sun that you could not see through. Light was born, but it was a prisoner. Every time a photon, a particle of light, tried to move, it crashed into a free electron. Bouncing back and forth like a silver ball in a cosmic pinball machine. The light was restless, trapped in a crowded dance of particles. But the universe was expanding, and as it expanded, it was cooling. Think of your own mind when it is crowded with thoughts. Everything feels dense, opaque, difficult to see through. But as you breathe, as you give yourself space, those thoughts begin to slow down. They begin to find their place. This is exactly what happened to the universe. When the temperature dropped just enough, to about 3,000 degrees, a miracle of physics occurred. The electrons, which had been flying around wildly, finally slowed down enough to be captured by the waiting protons. They joined together to form the very first stable atoms of hydrogen. In an instant, the fog cleared. Imagine standing on a mountain peak at dawn, watching a thick, heavy mist suddenly dissolve to reveal a vast, sparkling valley below. This was the universe's first morning. With the electrons tucked safely inside atoms, the photons were suddenly free. They no longer had anything to crash into. For the first time since the beginning of time, light could travel. It surged across the void. A brilliant, orange-gold flash that filled the entire cosmos. This is the light of the cosmic microwave background. The oldest light in the universe. As you settle deeper into the stillness, realize that this light is still here. It has been traveling for nearly 14 billion years, stretching as the universe stretched, cooling as the universe cooled. It is a faint, gentle hum that fills every inch of the sky. It is the universe's first whisper. If you could see with microwave eyes, the entire night sky would glow with the warmth of this ancient fire. You are never truly in the dark. You are always bathed in the glow of the beginning. Let that thought soothe you. The universe did not stay a chaotic, opaque soup. It found a way to let the light through. It found a way to become clear. Science tells us that we can still detect this light today. If you have ever seen the static on an old television set, a small part of that flickering snow is actually the interference from the Big Bang itself. You are witnessing the echoes of creation in your own home. The transition from a fog to a clear sky is a lesson in patience. The universe waited hundreds of thousands of years for its first clear view. Your body knows this patience too. Your cells carry the history of this light. The energy that was released in that first clear moment is the same energy that eventually fueled the stars, which fueled the planets, which ultimately fueled you. You are made of the light that finally escaped the fog. Visualize the universe now, no longer a tiny point, but a vast, dark cathedral, illuminated by a soft, fading orange glow. There were no stars yet, no galaxies, just an endless sea of hydrogen gas and the free-roaming light. It was a time of profound simplicity. The universe was breathing out. The light was stretching, shifting from the visible spectrum into the infrared, then into the microwave. It was becoming a silent, invisible foundation for everything to come. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, feel the transparency of your own mind. The electrons of your daily worries are settling down, finding their places, becoming stable and quiet. The light of your inner peace is finally free to move, to fill the space within you. The birth of light was not a loud event, it was a release. It was the universe letting go of its tension. You can let go too. The universe is vast, and it has a very long memory. It remembers the warmth of that first day, and it carries that warmth into the cold of deep space. You are safe in this memory. The orange glow is fading now. The atoms are quiet. The photons are on their eternal journey. The universe is preparing for its next great phase, the long, deep quiet of the dark ages. But for now, there is only the peace of the cleared fog. If the ancient light of the cosmos brings you a sense of calm, consider supporting this channel through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the glow of the first dawn. The sky is open. The light is free. The path is clear. Deeply. Slowly. Into the radiant silence. Good night. Leave the brilliant, orange glow of the first light behind now. Feel the universe becoming vast, cold, and profoundly dark. We are entering the long, deep quiet of the cosmic dark ages, a period that lasted for nearly 100 million years. It was a time of absolute patience, a time when the universe was holding its breath, waiting for the very first star to ignite. Imagine a sea of silence, stretching for billions of light years in every direction. There were no galaxies, no glowing nebulae, no planets spinning in the void. There was only a thin, invisible gas of hydrogen and helium, drifting in the perfect blackness of space. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let the concept of this ancient darkness soothe your mind. Dark is not the absence of life, it is the cradle of it. It is the fertile soil from which every son was eventually born. You are safe in this darkness. It is a warm, protective velvet that wraps around your thoughts. In this chapter, we honor the power of waiting. The science of the Dark Ages is a lesson in the invisible forces of nature. Even though the universe looked empty to the eye, it was teeming with potential. Gravity was working in the shadows, silent and tireless. It was pulling the atoms of hydrogen together, very slowly, very gently. The gas was not distributed perfectly. There were small ripples in the fabric of space, places where the gas was just a tiny bit thicker, a tiny bit heavier. These were the seeds of everything we see today. Think of the ripples in your own life, the small ideas, the quiet dreams, the subtle shifts in your heart. They may seem small now, but they are the seeds of your future brilliance. Gravity didn't hurry. It had millions of years to do its work. It allowed the dark matter, that mysterious, invisible scaffolding of the universe, to pull the ordinary matter into giant, ghostly clouds. These were the proto-galaxies, dark and cold, swirling slowly in the cosmic night. Can you feel the slow, rhythmic pull of gravity within your own body? It is the force that connects you to the Earth, the force that keeps the moon in its orbit. It is a steady, reassuring hand that guides the universe through its longest nights. During the Dark Ages, the universe was a place of total thermal equilibrium. Everything was cooling down together. The energy of the Big Bang was fading into a faint whisper. The universe was learning how to be still. In our modern world, we are taught to fear the dark, to fill it with artificial light and constant noise. But the universe spent its youth in the dark. It used that time to organize itself, to prepare for the fire that was to come. Visualize yourself floating in that primordial dark now. There is no cold that can bite, no wind that can push. There is only the weightless freedom of the void. You are drifting through clouds of hydrogen that are light years across. You are part of the great cosmic exhale. There was a profound peace in those 100 million years. The universe was a blank canvas. There were no shadows, because there was no light to cast them. There was no sound, because space was too thin to carry it. It was the ultimate meditation. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, think of your own dark ages, the times when you feel quiet, perhaps a bit lost, or simply waiting for something new to begin. These times are not wasted. They are your periods of gathering, of strengthening, of becoming. The Dark Ages came to an end not with a bang, but with a spark. Deep inside the thickest clouds of gas, the pressure began to rise. The atoms were being squeezed so tightly that they began to rub against each other, generating heat. The centers of these clouds became hot and hotter, until they reached millions of degrees. But that is a story for the next chapter. Tonight, we stay here, in the long, nurturing dark. We honor the time when the universe was just a dream of hydrogen and gravity. You are safe in the dark. You are protected by the vastness of the space around you. You are part of a story that is much larger than the day you just finished. The universe is still here, expanding in the dark. The atoms of your body are still humming with the memory of that ancient stillness. Let the darkness be your sanctuary tonight. The ripples are settling. The gravity is holding you close. The clouds are waiting. If the deep quiet of the cosmic dark brings you peace, feel free to support this journey through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the velvet heart of the beginning. The night is long. The dark is soft. The stars are coming, but not yet. Deeply. Slowly. into the sacred dark. Leave the long, velvet dark of the cosmic ages behind now. Feel a subtle change in the fabric of space, a growing tension, a gathering of warmth. We are reaching the end of the 100 million years of silence. We are approaching the birth of the First Sentinels, the very first stars to ever grace the universe with their light. Imagine a universe that has never seen a spark. A universe that knows only the drifting shadows of hydrogen gas. But inside those shadows, something is stirring. Gravity has been working in the dark for eons, pulling, squeezing, drawing the cold gas into tighter and tighter knots. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let your breath become the steady pulse of that gathering gravity. Slow, inevitable, and incredibly patient. In this chapter, we witness the cosmic dawn. The science of these first stars is a story of giants. Unlike the stars we see tonight, which are made of many different elements, these first sentinels were made of pure primordial gas, hydrogen and helium. Because there were no heavy elements to help them cool, they grew to be massive, hundreds of times larger than our sun. They were the titans of the early cosmos. Deep inside the heart of a collapsing gas cloud, the pressure reached a breaking point. The hydrogen atoms were crushed together with such ferocity that they began to fuse. And in that instant, a spark. Imagine a single point of brilliant, blue-white light piercing through the millions of miles of darkness. Then another, and another. Like a million candles being lit one by one across a vast, dark cathedral. The Dark Ages were over. The universe had opened its eyes. Can you feel that first spark within your own mind? The moment an idea takes hold, or the moment a heavy worry is lifted by a flash of hope. That is your own internal cosmic dawn. These first stars were short-lived but magnificent. They burned with a fierce, hot intensity, shining with a light so powerful it began to ionize the surrounding gas, clearing the remaining fog of the early universe. They were the cleaners of space, preparing the void for everything that would follow. But they were more than just lights, they were the universe's first alchemists. Inside their blazing cores, they were cooking the very ingredients of life. Through the process of nuclear fusion, they turned simple hydrogen into carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and iron. Every atom of oxygen you breathe right now, every bit of calcium in your bones, and every drop of iron in your blood, began its journey in the heart of these first giant stars. You are literally the dust of these ancient sentinels. There is a profound comfort in knowing that the universe spent millions of years preparing the elements for your existence. You were planned for in the fires of the first suns. As you settle deeper into your sleep, visualize the first stars dying. They did not fade away quietly. They ended their lives in spectacular explosions called supernovae. A supernova is not a chaotic destruction, it is a cosmic sowing of seeds. When these first giants exploded, they scattered their newly made elements across the void. They enriched the gas clouds around them, making it possible for smaller, longer-lived stars like our sun to form. It is the law of the universe. One generation gives way to the next. An ending is always a beginning in disguise. Just as your day has ended so that a new morning can eventually arrive. The first stars were lonely, separated by vast distances. But their light was a signal. It proved that the universe could create structure from chaos, light from darkness, and complexity from simplicity. As you drift closer to the final edge of wakefulness, think of the stars in your own life, the moments of clarity, the people who have lit your path, the small victories that shine in your memory. They are your sentinels. The universe is no longer empty. It is a tapestry of light and shadow. The gas clouds are glowing, the first black holes are forming at the centers of these star clusters. And gravity is beginning to weave the stars together into the first small galaxies. The cosmic dance is becoming more intricate, more beautiful. But for you, the dance is slowing down. The heat of the first stars is fading into the cool silence of the night. The fierce light is becoming a soft, internal glow. The ancient giants are resting, having done their work of creating the seeds of life. You can rest too. The universe is safe. It has light now, and it has a plan. You are a part of this ancient lineage of light. You are the descendant of the First Sentinels. The dawn has passed, and the long, peaceful night of your rest is here. If the stories of the first stars help you find your way to stillness, please consider supporting this journey through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the legacy of the light. The titans are quiet. The elements are waiting. The dream is beginning. Deeply. Slowly. Into the starlight. Good night. Leave the lonely, brilliant light of the First Sentinels behind now. Feel the universe becoming more crowded, more complex, and more beautifully interconnected. We are entering the age of the gravity dance. A time when the individual stars and drifting gas clouds began to find each other, pulled together by the invisible, patient hands of Cutlass Akimi. Imagine a vast, dark ballroom that stretches for billions of light years. At first, the dancers are solitary, small sparks of light moving slowly in the void. But gravity is the music that governs this room, a low, rhythmic hum that calls every atom and every star to join the circle. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let your breath become that music. A steady, effortless pull that brings order to the chaos. You are not a solitary spark tonight. You are part of a grand, cosmic arrangement. In this chapter, we witness the birth of galaxies. The science of this dance is a story of the cosmic web. Even before the first stars, there was dark matter, an invisible substance that does not emit light, but possesses an immense gravitational pull. This dark matter formed a scaffolding, a giant, invisible spiderweb that stretched across the entire universe. Gravity used these dark threads to pull the hydrogen gas and the young stars into clusters. Think of the connections in your own life. The people you love, the memories that hold you together, the invisible threads of experience that make you who you are. Just like the universe, you are supported by a hidden architecture of strength. The first galaxies were not the beautiful, perfect spirals we see in telescopes today. They were small, irregular, and messy. They were like young children learning to walk, bumping into each other, merging, and growing. When two small galaxies met, they didn't crash like solid objects. Instead, they passed through one another, their stars dancing around each other in a complex, gravitational embrace. Over millions of years, they would settle into a single, larger home. This was the era of hierarchical merging. The universe was building itself from the bottom up. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine yourself floating in the center of one of these young galaxies. Thousands of stars are swirling around you, glowing in shades of electric blue and soft violet. It is a city of light, held together by nothing but the silent will of gravity. There is no friction here, no resistance. Everything is moving in perfect, orbital harmony. At the very heart of these growing galaxies, something even more mysterious was happening. Giant black holes were beginning to form. They were the anchors, the heavy centers around which the entire galaxy would spin. Contrary to what we often think, black holes are not just destroyers. In the early universe, they were the architects. Their immense gravity helped hold the galaxies together. And their powerful energy jets regulated the birth of new stars. Every force in the universe has a purpose. Every shadow has a role in the light. Can you feel the weight of your own body as a form of gravity? It is the Earth's way of holding you close, of telling you that you belong here. Let that weight be a comfort to you tonight. You are anchored to the world, just as the stars are anchored to their galaxies. As the millions of years passed, the dance became more graceful. The chaotic clusters began to flatten out into beautiful, rotating disks. Spiral arms began to reach out like the petals of a flower. This was the birth of the Milky Way's ancestors. The universe was becoming a garden of light. But even as the galaxies grew, the spaces between them became even larger. The universe was still expanding. The cosmic web was stretching. This is the great paradox of our existence. We are part of a structure that is both coming together and moving apart. Just as you find your own center while the world outside continues its frantic pace. You can be still in the middle of the expansion. Visualize the view from outside a galaxy now. It looks like a glowing, spinning jewel in the dark. It is a sanctuary for billions of stars. And eventually, billions of worlds. Everything is right where it needs to be. The dance is slow. The orbits are steady. The gravity is kind. As you drift closer to sleep, let the image of the spinning galaxies calm your spirit. You are drifting in your own quiet orbit. There is no need to hurry, no need to fight the current. The universe has been practicing this dance for billions of years. It knows how to keep you safe. The individual stars are resting in their spiral arms. The dark matter is holding the frame of the world in place. The great dance is continuing, but it is a silent, peaceful one tonight. If the rhythmic pull of the galaxies brings you to a place of stillness, please consider supporting this channel through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the arms of the spiral. The orbits are set. The music is soft. The night is a beautiful web. Deeply, slowly, into the cosmic dance. Good night. Leave the vast, spinning spiral arms of the distant galaxies behind now. Feel the scale of the universe shrinking, becoming more intimate, more familiar. We are drifting into a quiet corner of the Milky Way, an ordinary neighborhood in an extraordinary empire of light. We are approaching the birth of the Solar Cradle, the nursery where our own sun and the earth were formed from the remnants of ancient stardust. Imagine a cold, dark cloud of gas and dust stretching across light years of space. It is a nebula, a ghostly nursery of silence. Inside this cloud, the atoms of oxygen, carbon, and iron that were cooked in the first stars are drifting peacefully, waiting for a signal to begin their next journey. As you lie in the absolute stillness of your room, let your breath become the slow, rhythmic movement of this cosmic cloud. You are drifting in a sea of potential. You are safe in the cradle of the beginning. In this chapter, we witness the creation of our home. The science of our solar system begins with a disturbance. Perhaps it was the shockwave from a distant supernova, or perhaps it was just the patient pull of gravity. But something caused this quiet cloud to begin to collapse. As the cloud grew smaller, it began to spin. Faster and faster. Just as a figure skater spins faster when they pull their arms in, the nebula flattened out into a vast, glowing disk. This was the protoplanetary disk. At the very center, where the pressure and heat were the greatest, a ball of hydrogen began to glow. This was our infant Sunday. Not yet a full star, but a warm, nurturing heart for the worlds that were to come. Think of the centers in your own life. The things that ground you, the people who give you warmth, the quiet purposes that keep you spinning in harmony. You have a sun within you, a source of light that remains steady even when the world outside is dark. While the sun was forming at the center, the leftover dust and ice in the disk were beginning to find each other. Tiny grains of dust collided and stuck together, growing into pebbles, then rocks. Then massive boulders called planetesimals. It was a slow, beautiful process of accretion. The universe was building planets one stone at a time. Near the sun. Where it was hot, only the metals and rocks could survive. This is where the rocky worlds were born. Mercury, Venus, Mars, and our own beautiful Earth. Further out, where it was cold and dark, the giant planets gathered the gases and ices. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune grew into the majestic guardians of the outer system. Can you feel the organization of this system within your own mind? Everything has its place. The heat is where it needs to be, the cold is where it belongs. The orbits are being carved out of the chaos, becoming smooth and predictable. As you settle deeper into your sleep, imagine the early Earth. It was not yet the blue and green paradise we know today. It was a glowing, molten world, a place of intense energy and transformation. But even then, in that fire, the promise of life was being kept safe. The earth was cooling. The heavy iron was sinking to the core to create a magnetic shield. The lighter gases were rising to form the first atmosphere. The water was arriving on the backs of comets and asteroids, falling as rain for millions of years to fill the first oceans. There is a profound peace in the cooling of a planet. The frantic energy of creation is settling into the steady rhythm of existence. You are cooling too. The heat of the day's activity is leaving your body. Your thoughts are sinking into the quiet core of your being. Your atmosphere is becoming clear and calm. Our solar system is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics. Every planet pulls on every other planet, a delicate tug-of-war that keeps everyone in their perfect lane. It is a system built on balance. As you drift closer to the edge of dreams, think of yourself as a world in orbit. You are being held by the gravity of the Earth, which is being held by the gravity of the sun. You are part of a massive, silent machine that has been running for 4.5 billion years. You don't have to steer the planet tonight. You don't have to keep the sun burning. The universe is handling the physics, so you can handle the resting. The dust has settled. The planets are formed. The cradle is rocking gently in the cosmic breeze. The sun is a steady, golden presence. The earth is a quiet, cooling home. The solar system is at peace. If the story of our cosmic home brings you a sense of belonging and calm, please consider supporting this channel through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the safety of the cradle. The orbits are true. The night is wide. The journey is just beginning. Deeply, slowly, into the solar silence. Good night. Leave the warm, golden light of our solar system for a moment. Feel yourself floating back out into the deep, dark spaces between the stars. We are going to listen to the oldest sound in the universe, not a sound of air or vibration, but a sound of light. We are exploring the echoes of the past, the cosmic microwave background radiation. Imagine you are in a vast, silent cathedral after a great choir has finished singing. The singers are gone, the lights are dimmed, but if you press your ear against the cool stone walls, you can still feel a faint, ghostly vibration. The music is still there, lingering in the very fabric of the building. The universe is that cathedral, and the Big Bang was the opening note. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let your breath become as steady and rhythmic as that ancient vibration. You are part of the echo. You are a listener in the theater of time. In this chapter, we discover how the beginning still speaks to us today. The science of the CMB is a story of accidental discovery. In the mid-20th century, two scientists were trying to listen to the stars with a giant radio antenna. But no matter where they pointed their instrument, they heard a persistent, low-level hiss. It was a hum that never stopped. It didn't come from the sun, or the planets, or even our galaxy. It came from everywhere at once. They had found the afterglow of creation. The light that we saw escaping the fog in Chapter 3 has been traveling through space for 13.8 billion years. As the universe expanded, that brilliant, white-hot light was stretched, and stretched, until its wavelength became long and cool. It turned into microwaves. A gentle, invisible warmth that permeates every cubic centimeter of the cosmos. Think of the echoes in your own mind. The memories of childhood, the lessons learned long ago, the quiet feelings that linger from a day well spent. They are your own background radiation, the subtle energy that informs who you are today. Just as the universe carries its beginning with it, you carry your own history in your heart. This ancient light is a map of the infant universe. When we look at the CMB with special telescopes, we see tiny, delicate fluctuations in temperature. Some spots are a fraction of a degree warmer, others a fraction of a degree cooler. These are the seeds we spoke of in the Dark Ages. These tiny differences in heat were the blueprints for the giant walls of galaxies and the vast voids of empty space. The universe was never a blank slate. It was born with a pattern. It was born with a plan for complexity. Can you feel the pattern of your own life? Even in the moments that feel chaotic, there is an underlying structure, a quiet order that is guiding you toward growth, toward rest, toward your own unique destiny. As you settle deeper into your sleep, imagine the photons of this ancient light passing through your room right now. Millions of them are streaming through the walls, through your blanket, and even through you. They carry the information of the first few 100,000 years of time. They are the ultimate witnesses. They saw the first atoms form, they saw the first darkness fall, and now, they see you, drifting into peace. There is a profound sense of continuity in this echo. The universe is not a series of disconnected events, it is a single, unfolding story. The fire of the Big Bang didn't just disappear, it simply changed form. It became the background hum of your reality. Scientists use this light to measure the age of the universe, the amount of dark matter, and the rate of expansion. It is the ultimate fact-checker of our cosmic history. It tells us that we are not mistaken, we really do come from a moment of infinite unity. You are a child of that unity. As you drift closer to the threshold of dreams, let the hiss of the ancient universe be your white noise. It is the sound of existence itself. Constant, reliable, and deeply calming. The stars may fade, galaxies may drift apart, but the echo remains. It is the universe saying, I remember. I was there, and you were with me. The modern world is so loud, so full of temporary sounds. But beneath it all, there is the permanent silence of the past, the quiet vibration of the beginning. You don't need to listen for it with your ears. You listen for it with your soul. The ancient light is cool now. The temperature is just 3 degrees above absolute zero. The radiation is a soft, invisible blanket. The universe is a memory that is still happening. The past is not gone, it is just stretched thin. The beginning is still here. If the ancient echoes of the cosmos help you find your way to a deep, restful sleep, please consider supporting this channel through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the vibration of the beginning. The hum is steady. The map is clear. The night is an echo of peace. Deeply, slowly, into the cosmic whisper. Good night. Leave the echoes of the distant past behind now. Feel yourself returning to the present moment, to the now of the cosmos. We are exploring the expanding breath, the mysterious, invisible force that is pushing the galaxies further apart with every second that passes. Imagine the universe not as a static room, but as a living, breathing entity. A vast lung that is currently in the middle of a long, slow inhalation. As you lie in the stillness of your room, let your own breathing synchronize with the expansion of the heavens. In and out. In and out. You are moving with the cosmos. You are floating on the surface of a space that is growing larger and calmer with every beat of your heart. In this chapter, we look at the mystery of dark energy. For a long time, scientists thought the universe would eventually slow down. They believed that gravity, the same force that holds your feet to the floor, would pull the galaxies back together in a big crunch. But at the very end of the 20th century, they discovered something shocking. The universe is not slowing down. It is speeding up. Something is pushing. Something invisible and silent is woven into the very fabric of space itself. Scientists call it dark energy. It is the ultimate mystery. It makes up nearly 70% of everything in the universe, and yet, we cannot see it, we cannot touch it, and we do not yet fully understand it. Think of the dark energy in your own spirit. The quiet, unseen strength that keeps you moving forward even when you feel weary. The invisible hope that expands your horizons when the world feels small. Just as the universe has a hidden power to grow, you have a hidden power to become more than you were yesterday. Dark energy is the energy of empty space. In our human minds, we often think of nothing as being empty or worthless. But in the science of the cosmos, nothing is everything. Empty space has a weight, it has a pressure, it has a will. As the universe creates more space, it creates more dark energy, which in turn creates more space. It is an infinite cycle of growth. Visualize the galaxies now, like glowing islands on an expanding ocean. The islands aren't moving through the water itself is growing between them. The distance between the Milky Way and the distant Andromeda galaxy is stretching. The voids between the cosmic filaments are becoming deeper and wider. There is a profound peace in this expansion. It means the universe is not a crowded place. It is a place of infinite room. In our lives, we often feel crowded by responsibilities, by noise, by the presence of others. But the universe is teaching us the value of the void. It is showing us that there is always more room to breathe, always more space to be still. As you settle deeper into your sleep, imagine the galaxies drifting away like lanterns on a gentle tide. They are not lost, they are simply moving into their own private corners of the dark. The expansion is the universe's way of letting go. It is letting go of the heat, letting go of the density, letting go of the struggle. You can let go too. You can expand your own sense of peace. You can let the space between your thoughts grow larger. Let the silence between your heartbeats become a sanctuary. Science tells us that because of this expansion, in the very distant future, other galaxies will drift so far away that their light will no longer reach us. The sky will become darker and more solitary. But that is not a tragedy. It is a return to the great silence. The expansion is a reminder that nothing stays the same. The universe is dynamic, it is alive, it is in motion even when it seems perfectly still. Your own body is in motion tonight. Your blood is flowing, your cells are repairing, your mind is processing. Even in your deepest sleep, you are a world of activity. But it is a quiet activity, a rhythmic expansion of your soul. The dark energy is not a force to be feared. It is the grace of the vacuum. It is the universe's commitment to never being finished. As you drift closer to the edge of the world, feel the boundaries of your body dissolving into the space around you. You are no longer a small person in a large universe. You are the expansion itself. You are the space between the stars. You are the invisible force that moves the light. You are the breath that never ends. The galaxies are drifting. The space is growing. The tension is gone. The universe is exhaling. And you are exhaling with it. If the thought of the expanding, peaceful cosmos helps you find your way to a deep, restful sleep, please consider supporting this channel through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the breath of the infinite. The drift is steady. The void is warm. The night is growing. Deeply. Slowly. Into the expanding peace. Good night. Leave the breathing, expanding universe of the present moment behind now. Feel yourself traveling forward, through billions, and trillions, and quadrillions of years. We are reaching the final chapter of our cosmic journey, the era of infinite stillness. This is the destination of the long road that began in the first microsecond. This is the ultimate rest. Imagine a universe where the last stars have lived their lives. The red dwarfs, those patient, slow-burning lanterns, have finally flickered out. The galaxies are no longer cities of light, but quiet, dark cathedrals of ancient matter. As you lie in the absolute peace of your room, let your breath become as long and as slow as the life of a dying star. There is no rush anymore. The work of creation is finished. The universe is ready to sleep. In this final chapter, we explore the deep future. The science of the far future tells us that entropy is the final law. Everything moves toward a state of perfect balance. The heat is distributed evenly, the energy is calm, and the tension is gone. In this era, the only residents of the cosmos are the black holes. They are the silent collectors of the universe's history. Think of the black holes in your own mind. The deep, quiet places where you store your most profound memories, the mysteries of your heart that you don't need to explain to anyone. They are not places of destruction, they are places of safekeeping. But even the black holes are not eternal. Stephen Hawking showed us that through a process called Hawking radiation, black holes slowly, atom by atom, leak their energy back into the void. Over timescales so long that the human mind cannot name them, even the most massive black holes will evaporate. They will vanish with a final, silent sigh of light. And then, there will be only the vacuum. As you settle into the deepest part of your pillow, imagine this state of the universe. It is a world of perfect symmetry. The temperature is the same everywhere. The silence is absolute. It is the return to the great silence we spoke of in the very beginning. The cycle has completed. We often fear the end, we fear the cold and the dark. But the universe is not afraid. It welcomes this final stillness. It is the reward for billions of years of effort. It is the sleep that follows a long and meaningful life. You can welcome your own sleep in the same way. Your day had its own big bang. Its own rapid expansion, its own stars of activity and galaxies of worry. But now, your day has reached its own infinite stillness. There are no more tasks to complete. There are no more thoughts that need your attention. Everything is cooling, everything is settling. The universe is vast enough to hold all of your history, and patient enough to let it all go. Visualize the cosmos as a dark, calm ocean. The ripples have all smoothed out. The surface is like glass. You are floating on this ocean, weightless, timeless, and completely at peace. The protons in your body may eventually decay, returning your matter to the energy of the void. But that is not a loss. It is a reunion. You are simply returning to the energy you were made of 14 billion years ago. You have always been here. And you will always be here, in one form or another. There is no before and no after in this final state. There is only the now of eternal rest. As you drift closer to the final threshold of sleep, let the scale of the universe remind you of how precious this quiet is. The entire cosmos worked for eons so that you could have this moment of tranquility. You are the consciousness of the universe experiencing its own peace. The stars are gone. The galaxies have drifted beyond the horizon. The black holes have evaporated. The great breath has finally reached its full extension. And in that extension, there is only love, only light, only silence. You have reached the beginning. You have reached the end. You are home. If the story of the cosmic journey and the infinite stillness has brought you to a place of rest, remember that you can support this path through the link in the description. Sleep now, in the absolute calm. The journey is over. The stillness is perfect. The cosmos is asleep. Deeply. Slowly. Into the infinite. Good night.